that you were once married and you also raised a child, you know, being single as a single parent. Is there any advice that you could give anyone that may be going through the process of getting a divorce, or just maybe a single parent, especially for the ones that may be transitioning from being married to becoming single again and having children? Is there anything that you could possibly tell them that would help them during this process?
I think like know that, divorce can happen to anyone, and it is a change of pace, and it is hard. It's a hard adjustment. I think it's hard because no one gets married to get divorced. You go into it thinking it's going to be forever. But sometimes things happen, life gets in the way, people change, and it doesn't last. So while it feels very uncomfortable initially, over time you will ease into it and you'll learn how to adjust through different things, and it'll be a learning experience. And I think if you look at it more as an adventure, like what's next, what's coming, and if you journal through the process, like, for people that I coach who go through divorces or breakups, or who are contemplating divorce, because it could be financial ramifications, it could be just, they don't want to be alone. They're used to, co-opting, or I don't even know if that's a word, but being with another person. um, I always say to them, okay, write down the benefits of staying in this relationship and the benefits of leaving this relationship. Because when you put things on paper, it just gets more you get more crystal clarity to it, right? And so
Right.
I think if you're going through a divorce, contemplating a divorce, when you're having bad moments, journal it, write it out. I think if you feel sad, feel sad. Just don't languish in it, but have the moment. Because I think those moments are real. And the people say they're not being realistic about divorce. It's hard. It's one of the most stressful things you can go through. I think looking at the positives of the divorce, the benefits you're going to gain, even if it's like, okay, but it was more stability, it was more this. Okay, but are you going to have peace of mind? Are your kids now going to see you possibly be in a healthier relationship in the future? You got to look at the other benefits, or the fact that you have kids with this person, and that's a positive that came out of the divorce. Because I think people think divorce, they think negative, but there still could have been a couple that had a good relationship run. Things were great. They had kids, they had good experiences, but it just ended. It just didn't work out for the long run. So I think we get so stuck. And I hear this a lot with people, like, I don't know how I ended up with this person. And I'll say, well, what did you like about them? Because there's something that brought you to that person initially, but something happens when things go negative that we just totally focus negatively. So I think even in those situations, just realizing that while it's going to be difficult, that it's an opportunity for you to grow. It's an opportunity for you to be more independent, to learn how to be resourceful, to learn to recognize your own strength, to get time back with you. Because when you are in a relationship, you are usually dedicating a lot of time to your partner. So this is a chance actually to reconnect to yourself as well,
Right.
and recalibrate.
During the time of that you transition, um, was there a time that you just felt like you wouldn't be able to move on, that it was just so hard? But then there was a time that you picked yourself back up. Like, how did you pick yourself back up?
I just remember, like, and it's been some time now, but I just remember feeling like, man, it's this is so hard. How am I going to do the little things? Like, I had this husband that took care of the household, duties, as far as like fixing things. And I remember being so excited when I could plunge a toilet, take out the garbage, like really silly things, but I would kind of celebrate it and be like,
Yeah.
wow, I could plunge a toilet. Like, I was all on that for a minute. Like, wow, like I thought this was so much harder. I could put things together. And so, yeah, it is a different roadmap. I'm not going to sit here and say it's, easy all the time. But I think if you look at it like, man, I didn't know I could do this, but now I'm able to do this. I think it'll give you that like confidence in yourself. So even when you do get in another relationship, you will approach that relationship a lot differently. You'll have a better sense of yourself and what your abilities are. And I think it also protects you from relationships that aren't a fit, because you've had that experience, right? But I would say for me, like, the toughest was just that adjustment period of not having someone in the house, not feeling like, I don't know, it is something about when you have a man around, you feel protected. There's a reason that we are drawn to relationships, right? That's a
Right.
form of it. Women look from it from an emotional safety provider, um, perspective. And so when there's a man present, you do feel that like, oh, someone's got me, and you do lean into this person. Those are real feelings. But I think also the other part of that is when you go through the transition, I had to learn how to be alone. I had my daughter, but I had to learn how to like enjoy myself. And that was hard because I would be looking for noise, like, okay, let me have someone around, let me do this. And I had to like get past that period. And then I got to this period where I started like in solitary a little too much. So I had to balance that out too. But I got to a point, I was like, I really like kind of being by myself. I like going to a movie by myself and no one's talking through it. I like going out to eat and kind of just observing. And people are like, people do look when you go by yourself sometimes, but I found like it empowered me. Like I actually am cool with this. And I'm interacting with more people and having a different experience than if I was with someone where I would be more focused on them,
Right.
So I think there was just a lot of growth. I looked at it more, even though it was hard, I looked at it more like, man, there's all these things I'm learning about myself that I had lost by being in my relationship a little bit, and it wasn't my partner's fault, my ex-husband, it was more me just putting that energy there and not balancing that energy. So even though I went through these difficult periods, I think focusing on the learning again kind of helped me to retool and be like, oh, I could do this. And it gave me more confidence.
Ooh, you need to be my life coach. Oh my goodness. I do, because I know that we're probably wrapping up on time. So where can everyone reach you? I know that I follow you on Instagram, and I know that you have a podcast that I saw on there as well. So what is your platform that everyone could possibly follow in order to get going on living their best life as well?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a couple of things. I'm going to put my book up here. I do have a book. It's called Love You and He Will Too, The Smart Woman's Roadmap to Happy, Healthy Relationships. So that's on Amazon and other, book channels if people are interested in that. That's like a quick guide if someone really is looking for like some tools and instructions about like, okay, how do I practice self-love? I have a website called thenewrulesofdating.com. And on that website, I write a lot of relationship articles around self-love, self-care, codependency. And then my platform as far as social media, I'm on Instagram under the New Rules of Dating. I'm on Twitter under the New Rules of Dating, and also on Facebook under the New Rules of Dating. So, check me out. People send me messages all the time. I love it because I know there's people out there. I just told Jessica that I'm like, sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, people are like reading this. Okay, that's good. Because I still want to know that, what I'm doing is helping people. So when I get that feedback, it's like, okay, that feels good. And so just know that I appreciate you guys too. You help me to be better at what I'm doing.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And thank you. I really hope that you can come into one day. I have my own TV show or something, and you can come on there.
Your own TV show. I think it would be great. Like you did a great job of talking to me today. Like I enjoyed this whole process. I told Jessica, she was like, I'm excited to talk to you. And I'm like, I'm excited to talk to you. I think it's cool when someone has reached out and say, hey, can you talk to me about this? And I love this. Like you can tell this is my thing. But I'm honored to be, talking to you, and I can't wait to see all the great things you're going to do too.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking out the time too as well.
No problem.
Again, you can find Miss Elizabeth Overstreet on thenewrulesofdating.com. Also on her Instagram, The New Rules of Dating. Her book, if you care to buy it off Amazon, the title of it is Love You and He Will Too. The Smart Woman's Roadmap for Happy, Healthy Relationships. Thanks again for tuning in. Love y'all. See you next time.